Hello everyone, welcome here. Today, we are not going to continue doing these limited space puzzles. We're going to start with the DLC. Anyway, and once again, I really don't care overly much about the story. Alright. The Glyph of Rejection. It extracts an atom of quicksilver from an atom of metal and demotes it to the next lower form. Okay, so it's the opposite of the other metallic glyph thing. Alright, so what are we trying to make? Trying to make two things. One of those and one of those. Alright. Okay, so this looks relatively simple. Hello, survey. It looks like we are going to be grabbing a metal, and then we'll take one quicksilver off the metal, and then we'll combine the quicksilver and the resulting metal together with a bit of water to make two pairs. So let's do something like that. Okay. The fun part here is that we need to get this. Okay, let me think. I don't want to do this. No, that's going to be too much potential for... Okay, this will be better. It'll be slower, but it'll be better. Less potential to run into things. Although this is going to be quite slow. Okay. Let's start with arm 3, because that's going to be what's going to determine the speed of everything here. Well, okay, here, we can do this much better, actually. And then I put another one here. Okay, the problem is that one's going to be smacked. Okay, but that doesn't mean we can't do this. Okay, this is immediately better. Okay. Arm 3, you will grab. You will rotate. Not that way. You'll rotate that way, and then you'll reset. Arm 4, you will do the same thing. 2 ticks delayed. Okay, arm 1, you will grab the metal. You'll rotate. You'll rotate again. You'll rotate again. And then you reset. Okay, this is not going to be the actual timing of these moves, though. Because we need arm 4, which is this one, to actually move before arm 3, I think. Okay, arm 2. You need to grab right there, or right there, probably right there. And then rotate, and then rotate, and reset. Okay, the timings on this are almost certainly wrong for almost all of this. The timings for that are almost all correct. Okay, arm 2, I think we could pull you back 1. No, we can't. Okay. That's good to know. Okay. I can't believe those are all correct right off the bat. That was easy. It definitely was not the fastest in the world. I would probably be better off using multi-arms. Then I could remove some of the resetting. Arms 3 and 4 have plenty of time. Arm 2 and arm 4 I could replace. Okay, no, arm 1 I mean. I can replace you with a double. Arm 2 I can replace with a triple. And then arm 1 doesn't need to reset. It just needs to drop. And arm 2 is the same. It doesn't need to reset, it just needs to drop. That should be a lot faster. Yeah, a lot faster. It covers more area, but it's a lot faster. The limiting factor is still arm 1. I don't think there's any way I can speed that up. Yeah, not without re-architecting the whole thing. Okay. Good enough for who it's for. Elemental copper. Okay, so we are going to be taking tin and turning it into copper by way of gold. So, we need a few glyphs here. This should be easy enough. Place you with a multi-arm. And then you get to be a multi-arm. Okay, this should be very simple. 1, you grab, you swing, you release, no, you reset. Okay. 2, grab, swing, release. Let's start there. And then repeat that a bunch of times. I'm not sure how many bits we can get out of the... Okay, then 3, you do the same exact thing. Grab, swing, release, repeat. And I think we can run that on exactly the same... I'm pretty sure I have this backwards. No, I don't. Wait, do I? Yeah, this is the Quicksilver symbol. So that's where the Quicksilver gets injected. This is the lead symbol, which is standing in for any metal in this case. Okay. Let's run this a few steps and find out what happens. Okay, well, first of all, this is backwards. Okay. Now, what are we trying to make again? Copper. Okay, so we need to promote twice. So, arm 3 needs to run every other. Like that. Oh, then we have the lead we need to get rid of. Actually, wait. I will have a copper on here after a few times. We can get rid of that copper. So I need to move some of this stuff around. So we grab, we move to there. We grab. We need to use the opposite rotation on 2 now. And actually, this isn't going to work for shit. Okay. There. And that'll allow us to shift to there to drop at the right moment. Okay. So, boom, boom, boom. Okay. So we want to grab 2. Let me think. We go ahead and swing at that point. Okay, don't reset. Don't release. Okay. And then we need to move... Okay, we need a repeat instruction there. And then you need to wait 2 ticks and then repeat. And then you wait 2 ticks and then repeat. Like this. Okay, so actually we don't want all of this. I don't think we need any of these repeats at all. Because they don't represent a complete cycle, but obviously they're a full repeat of the cycle. We are going to have to lengthen the cycle some. Apparently we won't have to, but I'm willing to bet that it breaks after a little bit. Maybe not. Okay. No, it doesn't. Okay. Yeah, that's significantly simpler then. All right. So yeah, it takes several cycles for each, not necessarily, I guess. Not once it's up to speed. Okay, anyway. When metals can be freely transmuted into each other, the most valuable ones are the ones with the fewest steps to the others. In other words, iron and copper. Silver dust. Okay, so we need to take a ring of copper and gold and turn it into silver. Yeah, an atom of rose gold and turn it into an atom of silver. If you look at our handy little chart here, gold is one above and copper is one below. So, that tells me that we could do something very interesting here. Let's make a ring. Let's see, we're gonna need 3 of these, I think. Something like that. And then we need 3 of these. Like that. Okay, they don't actually, I don't actually want them laid out like this. We'll do like that. And then we just need an arm at each of these. And then we need a longer arm whose job it is to grab a copper right there, stick it here, then go to there with our eventual silver. Okay. And I think we actually want this to be a tri-arm. Yep. Alright. Arm 1. You will grab, rotate, reset. Arm 2, grab, rotate, reset. Arm 3, exactly the same sequence. Okay. Arm 4, you will grab, rotate, and I just realized an issue. Namely, if we sit there, well, here, I can demo it real quick. Okay, well, there's that issue too. Let's not talk about that one. Let's just move that arm over there for now. Yay, we have silvers. Oh wait, now everything's copper. Oops. Boom. Okay, now we have silvers with coppers instead of silvers with golds. So you can see the issue. We have to grab off the quicksilvers, and then, so we need 2 steps here. So this needs to be a double arm, not a triple arm, because we're going to have to move it through more stations. And then we need to produce 2 stations here. 1 station to grab the quicksilver. And I'm not entirely sure how to handle this. Because then I need to somehow get the quicksilver from here to the next station. Okay. Or okay, boom, we got some silvers. Now if we tried to move again, the quicksilver would be in the way, which is kind of a big problem. Okay. So we could do that move easily enough. These arms just straight up aren't long enough to do that move. Although I could do that. Oops. Do that to get the move we need. Okay, these need to be reversed. And then of course we still have arm number 3, which is just hanging out down there. Oh, of course, we can't do that either. Yeah. Derp. So the problem here is we need to move this piece before we can move any of the quicksilvers. So we need to do like this. Boom, grab the quicksilvers, and then we need to move out of the way before we pick up any of those quicksilvers, which is not going to work. Not when we're moving that way anyway. So this whole plan with the long double arm isn't going to work. What we can do, however, that is bass backwards. Okay, there we go. Let me think. Ugh. Stop that. We can do something like this. Yeah, this is a really dumb idea, but let's see if it works. So I really wish I could have a middle handle. What we could do is we could grab one of these. We could break it up into pieces. Either individual atoms or in pairs. Probably pairs would be better. And then re-weld the pairs after we reform them. And I think the way to do this would be to use multiple arms. To grab each segment. This is going to be slow as hell if we do it that way. No, it's not. I don't like this track approach either. It's not going to work as well as I maybe thought it might. I can already tell. Let's go ahead. Where'd the third one of these go? Oh, there it is. Okay. Boom. Let's get rid of the rest of these arms for the moment. Okay, arm 1. Grab. Rotate. And rotate again. Yeah, okay, let's kind of smack right into that. We can't move it until it's like rotating it is to make it massively flop around. Okay, so I move to there. Let's rotate this so it grabs a hold of the copper. Like, what I'd like to do is rotate it in place. But that's really not going to work. Okay, what happens if I move it there? Boom, okay. So they're all relatively close to this side now. And they're placed incorrectly, but that's easy enough to fix. Boom. And then okay, actually, if I used a piston arm there, okay, then we have a little problem. Namely, that I can't easily get underneath those coppers in this position, which is what I'd like to do. Well, we wouldn't be able to continue moving it with this arm, that's for sure. So what if we replace that with a solid arm? And then we take another solid arm over here. No, that's not going to work the way I was thinking for a second. I could use a piston arm here. Okay. And then you grab track twice. Okay, then we need to get these over to here in a reasonable manner. Most of them are going to be fairly easy to do, that very thing. These two, for example, just do right like that. But then the tricky one is going to be this one. And actually, I'd probably want to move those a little bit differently so that I could use longer arms and keep them more out of the way. Get those out of the way because I'm not going to use them. But then getting the quicksilver from here over to there is not very workable. Yeah. Okay, we could do something very stupid that I think would actually work really well. If I could get the arms to do it. Wait, wrong one. There's no point in doing that if we're going to use weld arms for the whole thing. Okay. Okay. And 4 and 5. They will grab right there. Okay, let's put an extension on that so we can just play around with this a little bit. And then arm 4. Releases at that point. Okay. Ooh. Well, that's annoying. We can do this with a track. The problem is with a track is going to be worse. Or we can do it like this with a track, which will be fine. There we go, we got sober. Now. Okay. At this point, arm 3 needs to rotate down. And return. Okay. I can tighten some of these timings for sure. Yeah, because arms 3 and 5, or arms 4 and 5 can move at the same moment as 3 and 2 move for the second time. So this can go there, I believe. Yeah, that cuts a ton of variance out of it. Okay. Now, 2 and 3 need to be handled a little differently. Because they need to be in precise lockstep with each other so they don't ram into each other. Okay. And then arm 3 needs to reverse its rotation. And I believe that that should just work. Okay, that was kind of cool. Okay, what's our longest arm? Arm 3. Arm 3 does have a small pause in the middle. But that pause is while the other arms are dropping their pieces. So we really can't skip that. We could save a little tiny bit of cost making that track shorter. It's basically inconsequential. Oh, it saved one area too. Sure, why not? Yeah. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. Okay. The halt instruction stops an arm from following instructions and prevents it from looping, allowing for the creation of mechanisms that act only once. Oh, we got a limited space one here. Okay, what do we need to make? We need to make a quicksilver from lead. Oh, I see how this is going to work. Okay. This is going to be very interesting. Because what we need to do we need to feed lead into this system to produce the next higher metal. And then we need to take that next higher metal and we need to strip a quicksilver out of it. Okay. I think I can do this in a somewhat inventive way. Okay, so what we need is something to prime the system. So this needs to inject a few extra lead at the beginning. And then once it's got the few extra leads injected, then it stops. The problem is, how do I do that? Like, I know how I can get it to stop. Obviously, the halt instruction that they were telling us about, which is somewhere in here. There. However, I'm not sure where I want the arm to be. I think I need to put this arm down here. And then I need to put this arm right here. Okay. Arm 1 is the priming arm. It only runs during the beginning. So arm 1 grabs. It swings twice. And then it resets. Arm 2, meanwhile, grabs 2 ticks later. It swings once, the opposite direction, and then it resets. And they effectively have the same endpoint. So what this does, I think I can actually move this one forward, maybe? No, because it's trying to grab the item just before it moves. Okay, so that makes us a 10. At this point, arm 4 grabs that 10. It rotates forward. It releases. Arm 3, which actually should be arm 4, grabs 1 tick after that. It rotates and it resets. And I have this backwards, so it doesn't work. Okay. Now, arm 3, it needs to repeat pretty much immediately. Arm 1. Okay, let me think about this. Arm 1 is the longest arm, okay. Yeah. And then you run immediately after the end of that one, so there. So this setup needs to run a certain number of times just to prime the pump. And see what we're doing, we're loading arm 3 up with lead. Which is exactly what we want to do, because we need arm 3 to be full of lead. Because arm 3 is going to take over for arm 1. After a certain number of cycles. Okay, we need at least one more loop. I think 2 more loops, actually. Yeah, okay, see? There, arm 3 took over for arm 1. Okay, that's kind of cool. We can turn lead into quicksilver now. Using lead as a catalyst. And we hardly used any of the space we were required to get it in. Now the question is, is there a better way I could have done this? It's definitely got pauses it doesn't need that were there to make space for the priming arm to do its thing. So we could make this a lot faster if the priming arm could be made faster somehow. Which we probably could do if we used a triple arm. So arm 1, grab, return, return, and then drop instead of repeat. And that means we could remove a solid 2 ticks out of everything. Which is very good. Because turns out almost everything had 2 ticks of space in between it. Okay, maybe we couldn't remove precisely that. Let me think. rotate, rotate. Oh, I see what the problem here is. Arm 2 needs to move one tick closer to the beginning. Which means all of these need to move one tick closer to the beginning, I think. And arm 2 can't move one tick closer to the beginning. So what actually needs to happen is we could only save one tick between each one. Which is unfortunate. But not altogether unexpected, honestly. Let's see how badly I screwed up the timings. Okay, arm 3 is grabbing too soon. Okay. Okay, that's a good bit faster. It's not immensely faster, but it's a good bit faster. It's a little tiny bit more expensive. Okay. And it did cut down the instructions by a whole 10 instructions. I don't think there's anything else I can do to make arm 1 faster. Because the relationship between arm 1 and arm 2, both having to share that lead, is what is setting their timings. Because arm 2 must not grab until after arm 1 is moved. So that means we must have arm 2 move and start 2 ticks before arm 2. And then they both need to drop at this. I mean, they don't both have to drop at the same time, but the last one to drop determines when we can grab with arm 3. And the last one to drop is going to be arm 2. We can't do anything about that. We could replace arm 1 with a 6 arm, but that would make it even slower, I think, not faster. So there's not a whole lot I can do here. Arm 3 could be changed to be a triple arm instead of a 6 arm. We would have to move some things around to make that work, but I don't think it would change the timings any, because arm 3 is not the limiting factor here. It would maybe reduce the price a little bit. No, it wouldn't, because any arms past the first one cost more. We could reduce price in a variety of ways, but it would make the machine slower, so no. Alright, I think I'm good with this. Yeah. Mixed use lubricant. Alright, we need to make this funny shape with a little bit of copper on the side. And to do it, we get a little bit of iron. And a couple of other bits. Okay. So the obvious thing to do here, the thing that immediately recommends itself to my mind, is to make this arc using this arm. So we grab, we rotate, we release, we repeat. Twice or 3 times? Twice, okay. And that gets us the arc we need. Then, from there, we can grab that arc and move it to here, where it makes this shape. And there's where we will weld on the salt. And there's where we weld on the metal, I think. Okay, we need to extend. Okay. That is obviously incorrect. What we need to do here is we need to curve it. And then that is right. Yeah. Okay. I don't think I want to reset here. Yeah, I do. Because if I continue using arm 2 to swing it even farther, then we're going to be getting in the way of this stuff. Alright, so something, we'll move the shape, who knows where, to drop it into there later. For now, though, let's focus on this. Okay, we are getting an iron, and we need to make a copper and a tin. So That's easy enough to do. Unfortunately, I think we're going to end up with an extra water that I didn't watch. Because what we need to do is we need to take four iron. No. We need 2 iron. And then we promote 1 iron and demote the other iron. The demoted iron goes over here to attach. The promoted iron goes into here. Okay. Let's just do this with a single arm for now until I decide. So this, it grabs this, moves it here, splits it, moves it here, demotes it. And then let's do this a little differently. There we go. And then something like that. We have to swing the pieces around the outside, which is slow. But let's go ahead and write the code for it real quick. Okay. Arm 4, you are now arm 3. No. Arm 5, you are now arm 3. Arm 3, arm 4, arm 5. Okay. Now, arm 4, we'll start with that one. That one's the one that needs to start first due to timing reasons, which means I should make it arm 3. There we go. Arm 3, you start first, you grab, you rotate twice, and then you release. Arm 4, you, starting 2 ticks later, you grab, you rotate twice, okay. arm 5, you starting at the same time? Okay, that's actually not going to work. If I rotate that one that way. Yeah. We're going to have to do this a lot differently than I had initially planned. Because of weirdness. Okay. And actually we can move this even closer because it doesn't really matter. It's not going to be swinging. And that means we can probably change some angles here maybe. Maybe not. Okay, wait, this is on the wrong side. Here. This thing's useless. I mean, I'm not gonna throw it away just yet, but... Okay. So from here, we need to grab the metal. Okay, that, but backwards. And then unfortunately, that's going to be very much in the way. So we could reach that. I think I'd rather do this. I don't know. This is gonna suck. I don't like any of this approach. Let's just go ahead and program the rest of this for now. Oh, that's right. These have to be facing a specific direction because of the swing. Okay. Now, this metal's got to be removed from there before we can actually remove this. And that's a problem. So that means this approach of swinging it around the outside isn't going to work. Not well enough, anyway. Not unless we actually grab the metal off of there and pull it out. Which we can do with this track. And now that I've sufficiently screwed that track up, let's grab a new one. Okay. This isn't going to do anything useful. Let's get rid of it. Arm 4. You. Grab. Move. Okay, we need to sync this up with Arm 1 releasing. Okay, then we need to... Okay, that gets that out of the way. Now, at this point, when it moves back, we need to be grabbing this piece. So, here. Yeah, let's go ahead and try this. That's gonna be slow, but... Somehow I got that backwards again, even though I know which way it goes. Okay, so the end result of this, let's run this again, this time stopping before it breaks. Okay, so the end result of this is that we have the copper we need to get rid of there, which we can do something like this. Arm 5. Grab right there. Swing there. Reset there. Okay, the copper's been delivered. Yay. And then we have 2 waters just hanging out. And then arm 4 over here has our tin, I believe. Yes. Arm 2 doesn't let go. Okay, it needs to do that. All right. Now, Arm 4. It needs to swing that away. Okay, actually, let me think. We could go ahead and set this up. I probably shouldn't have deleted that earlier one I had, because that was exactly what I needed here. But it's not hard to set one of these up again. This one I want to rotate twice, so we have a pair sitting right there. And then we'll use the Glyph of Calcification on that pair to get this. And then we need to grab the water off here and bond it onto that pair. Let me think. How am I going to do this? Okay, arm 7. As soon as arm 6 is done and releases, you grab. Then you swing once, twice, and then rotate twice, I believe. Okay. Okay, let's just put an extender way out there so this thing only runs once. Because I need to experiment without things ramming into each other. Okay, at this point we need a water move to here. So arm 4, I don't want you to swing yet. At some future point you will, though. In the meantime, arm H. Okay. So we weld the water on here, and then arm 4 will swing up to weld the metal on there. So arm H, U, once that water is dropped off, which will happen on arm 1, very close to the beginning. So like right here, grab. And then rotate twice. And then reset. Okay, and arm 4, you actually do need to rotate up pretty much right away. Okay, boom, we have the whole bottom piece assembled. Now we just have to get this water over to there to assemble the remainder of it. Which I think we can do with an extra long arm. Failing the extra long arm actually working, which it won't, we will have to use an extra long arm and a short track. Or a slightly shorter arm and a longer track, because we need to clear this piece, and I don't think we can do that. Well, let's try it with the extra long arm, because I think that's going to swing and it's going to hit this. So yeah, we want the shorter track, or the longer track, I mean, which may or may not still hit that when it swings, but we'll find out in a second. Okay, arm 9. You need to grab pretty much at the same time arm 8 does. And then you swing as well, and we're going to watch that smack right into it. Well, okay, it would work if it It needs to grab a little later than arm 8 because it has to grab for 2. So 2 takes later than arm 8. There we go. Yeah, it's going to collide. Alright. Even with the shorter arm and the longer track. Let's try moving forward, which I don't think is going to change anything, but we'll try it anyway. Yep, no. Okay. What if we move forward twice and then swing? Will that get it clear? Yeah, it will. Okay. Now we have a little bit of a problem still. How do we get this shape out of this nest of arms? Okay, arm 4. You need to reset when you're done. Arm 8. You're already resetting. Okay, arm 7. You could go ahead and reset when you're done. Arm 9. You should reset when you're done. Okay, so we have our shape right here. It's ready to go. We just have to get it out of this nest of arms. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to make arm 7 longer. So that'll clear more space. And then arm 9, instead of resetting right away, you can swing something, something, we'll see. Okay. So now we need to tighten that timing up. Arm 7 is the last to arrive. So we want to do it right there, I believe. Okay. Let's remove that and see if the periods will work out without collision. It looks like they do. Alright, beautiful. This is way more complicated than it probably needs to be, but yeah, my area score, not very good. Cycle's not bad though. Cost, a little high. Arm 1 and 2 spend a lot of time sitting, so they could probably be single arms quite easily. They were triples because that way they'd be faster, but it doesn't matter. So let's go ahead and make them single arms. That reduces the price a little bit. It looks like the limiting factor is probably going to be arm 9 or arm 7. Okay, arm 9 is definitely the limiting factor on speed. So if we remove arm 9's responsibility for dropping off the end piece and put a different arm in there whose job it is, Okay. Arm 10. You grab, as arm 7 is releasing, you swing upward, and you reset. And it doesn't work because arm 8 is in the way. We have to swing it the other way. Or we could make it a little more expensive. Pull that back a tile. And insert a retraction. Alright, with arm 9 faster, that saves quite a lot of cycles actually. The limiting factor is still arm 9. But not by nearly as much. Arm 7 is also a limiting factor. And arm 3 is a limiting factor. So there's like 3 or 4 of the arms that have exactly the same period right now. So we couldn't make this machine any faster without actually making it faster. Okay, so we could make arm 7 faster. And the way to do that would be actually quite simple. And that would be to rotate this whole assembly. Let's remove those two. I don't think that's the right direction. No, it's got to be oops. It's got to be like that. So if we reverse the direction of arm 6, that should work. Okay, and then the other thing we need to do with this we need to put that there. Okay. So that makes arm 7 faster by 2 whole ticks. So arm 9 and arm 3 remain the slow ones. Yeah. Arm 3 is going to be a royal pain in the ass, I think. I don't see an easy way to make arm 3 faster. I mean, the way arm 3 works is a horrible design. We could strip a couple of instructions from arm 3 by doing that, actually. So that makes arm 3 2 instructions shorter. So now we're back to arm 9 being the bottleneck. Yeah. Well, actually, I could probably make this a little better. Wait. I'm being an idiot. If we make arm 9 a double arm, we don't have to reset it. Okay. Arm 6 has a bit of a collision here. Damn it. Well, if we made arm 7 longer, again, that's not going to save anything here. But it will allow us to put arm 6 over on this side. Which might actually work. Wait, what? Oh. It's grabbing on again too fast. So we actually have to we have to extend the period 1 tick there. And okay. Then we have a bit of a problem. With this being too close now, that's fine. We can fix that. Okay, arm 10 can now be a fixed length arm. Except it can't be. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Arm 10's got to move in a tick. Actually, it's got to move more than in a tick. It's got to move in 2 ticks, or it can move in 2 ticks. Doesn't have to. Okay, then you go down it. There we go. That is much tighter timings. Okay. We saved a whole, what, 6 cycles? Since the last set of edits? Okay. The limiting factor here is that arm 6 needs to be lengthened by a tick artificially. So if I could figure out a way to make arm 6 not have to do that. Okay, so I think the solution here is to actually make arm 6 multiple arms. So let's try this. actually, that is definitely not going to work. Okay, the problem here. Okay, this might work though. Arm 11, you have to go first. You grab. And then you swing. And then you swing. And then you reset. Arm 12, you grab. You swing once. And then you reset. And that makes them have exactly the same period. That is the wrong swing direction, I believe. Yeah. And unfortunately, they collide. Well, that's annoying. No. That's not any faster then. Because we can't have any arms right in here or they'll get hit when this swings out. We can have arms here. So we could do like, oops. We could try this. Arm 12. We need to rotate that way. Arm 11. You need to rotate the other way. Arm 12 needs to rotate twice and start sooner. Arm 11 needs to start later and rotate once. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, so arm 7 can now start a tick earlier. Arm 6 can go away. Okay, we've got a collision between arm 2 and arm 5. Okay, arm 2, you need to start a tick later, I believe. Which is not actually going to help things at all. Okay, what happened when it started a tick later again? Then it runs into arm 8. Okay. So arm 3. Arm 3 can start a tick earlier. And that means arm 5 can start a tick earlier. Which means it just gets out of the way in time. Alright, now we're down to 42 cycles instead of 48. And at this point, I do not think I can cut this machine's time anymore because so many of these arms are all using their entire period of instructions. Things are arriving exactly on time. There is no space between a lot of these arms. So if I wanted to go any faster than this, I'd have to completely redesign the machine. Okay. I'm not sure what the actual best possible cycles you could do, but I definitely can't be terribly far off of that. Metallic tincture. Okay. Okay, we have some copper to start with. And we need to make some silver. But not really. Or not just silver. So I believe what we actually need to do is we need to make a gold and then strip one of the quicksilvers off of the gold. Okay, we'll use basic accumulators, and this should give us a gold eventually. And then we use a glyph of rejection. Okay. Now. I think I can make this work with some very clever timings. Whether or not that's a good idea is a different question. But we're going to try it, because I'm curious if I can make it work. So we'll grab, we'll rotate twice, we'll release, we'll grab. No, we'll rotate once. No, rotate twice. Grab, rotate to there, release, grab, and then we rotate twice more. Which is too far, by the way. Okay, now, arm one, grab, rotate, release, repeat, repeat, repeat. Arm 2, grab, rotate, release, repeat. Okay. Arm 6, now known as Arm 3. Grab. Rotate. Reset. Arm 5, now known as Arm 4. Grab, rotate, twice. Now here's where the clever timing comes in. If we rotate Arm 6 at the same time, I believe we can kind of mesh the two together. We'll see if it breaks or not. If it does, I'll have to rethink my whole plan. Then Arm 5, you are going to be known as Arm 6 going forward, actually. You will grab after Arm 4 is moved. You'll rotate and reset. You'll reset. I think we're going to have Arm 6 do the final delivery, actually. Okay. So first we make our silver, and it turns out the timing on that is just a little bit wrong. Okay, let's try again. Okay, no, they smash together instead of... Okay. Well, we can do this. Arm 5, you rotate one less time. You don't have that. Okay, the gold arrives. It's turned into the right material. Okay, you move up one tick later. Arm 4, you have to rotate a third time? Question mark? Yes, it does. Why did I think it only had to rotate twice? I don't know. Why do I think anything? Okay, there we go. And Arm 6, you need to be a tick slower. Okay, Arm 5, you need to release. And then retract. Okay, Arm 6, you need to wait one more tick before you swing a second time. And there's already a spot where we can make some huge improvements on timing. Namely, this bit of arm 5 can be moved up to there. Okay. Now the slow part is going to be arm 1 and 2. Specifically arm 1. So we could make arm 1 faster by not using a rotary arm. Matter of fact, that could be done quite easily. Okay. Arm 7 and 8, you are now arm 1 and 2. Okay, arm 2. You grab, you rotate, you release. Arm 3, you grab, you rotate the other way. And actually, instead of releasing, you reset. Okay. Does that actually make it any faster? Good question. We can actually make it faster, okay. Because the end result of this is that the arms can be moving over each other. Okay, let me look. Boom. Boom, okay. So at this point, arm 4 needs to grab. So arm 4 is grabbing one tick too soon. Okay. Arm 1, you can go. That makes arm 6 our new slow arm. Which is fine. To make arm 6 not be slow, it's only one tick slow. Like if we saved one tick off arm 6, then arm 1 and 2 would become the bottlenecks. Actually, arm 1, 2, and 5 would become the bottlenecks. And those would be much harder to fix, all of them, to be faster. Is there any place I could cut a little bit off arm 6 though? Not really. If I could remove that track, that would cut. I could cut the track fairly simply by adding another arm. Except that's going to collide with arm 5 then. So I think we would need to make arm 8 a piston arm. So it grabs. Ooh, we can't retract because arm 6 is in the way. We can't twist because that's in the way as well. Actually, we could do this. I think. So we grab. I don't know if that's going to work or not. There's only one way to find out. It probably isn't going to work. Well, now arm 6 and arm 5 are conflicting. Arm 6 needs to move a little later, I think. No, it needs to move a little earlier. I see. I see. I don't think there's anything I can do about that. Because we had that problem earlier and then I solved it by using the track, amongst other things. So I think we have to go back to the track plan. Well, I removed the instructions from arm 7 already and didn't put them back. Okay. So arm 7 is no longer the bottleneck. So there's no point not having it do the delivery. All right. Galena separation. Okay. Silver, lead, bit of salt. And we want to produce tin and salt. Okay. Okay. We should be able to get enough. Yeah, we basically just take all the lead, we promote all the lead to tin using the silver. And then we ditch the salt. Okay. So, first things first, we need to separate these materials. And the way we're going to do that is with our good old friend, the extra long arm, grabbing the middle piece. Okay. And then we're going to spin it on top of this debinder. And that will cut off all of the outside bonds, which will leave the lead still bonded to the silver, but it will remove all of the salt. I think that's a good approach here. Okay, arm one. Grab, swing, spin, 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 spin. I think we only need 5 spins. We'll put 6 on just in case. All right. And then arm 2, you need to grab, rotate, and release. And then you do that 3 more times. Okay. Oh. Okay, I see what the problem is here. That's normal and expected. Okay. That's not gonna be in the way when I swing out of here, is it? It might. In which case, I should probably do this. Okay. Boom. Boom. Okay, 2. Rotate it the other way. And then you go 1 forward. No. Watch. Oh, that's right. It's got a... Okay, we need 1 tick of space between all these. Maybe not all of them. But for now, all of them. Okay. Now, let's run them in pairs. And that'll let us pull that closer together. Yep. Okay, then for sure. We can do this. Okay. Then we can for sure swing over to here where we can strip the leads off. So I want pretty long arms on this. Because I'm going to want to do some shenaniganry over here. with demoting the silver and something. Anyway. So basically we're going to be loading up a magazine. Okay, so arm 1, once you finish doing the little spinny thing, then you're going to rotate again. Immediately? I think we have an extra spin in there that we don't need. Yes, we do. Okay. Then you can rotate immediately. Rotate it 1 tick later. Okay, that gets us our first lead out of the way. So, we grab that first lead. We're gonna have to rotate it this way for now, which is gonna waste some time, but that's fine. We'll have to live with it. Okay, so after we grab the first piece, then we spin twice, grab the second piece, spin twice, okay. Now, after that sequence, we turn 1 more time. That'll get us a lead here and a silver here. So we take the glyph of rejection. Boom. And then we need to do this. Except I want to do it a little differently so that we can promote them while they're sitting right here on this thing. Okay. Wait, what? Oh yeah, I didn't grab again, that's why. Okay, I'm going to remove these because I need to do this slightly differently. Grab, rotate, release, grab, rotate. Don't release, rotate again. And that gets us set up to start turning these into the next pieces up. Okay, the problem is I think it's probably going to hit that when it comes by. Which going to be an issue. No matter where I put this, it's going to be a problem. Because the only place that really works to place it is there. Okay, I guess we'll just try it and see if it actually does hit. Arm 4. Grab. Rotate. Reset. And you will go... Let's see, when's arm 1 arriving? Arm 1 is arriving. There. So we'll start the tick after it arrives, which I think is correct. Also, let's put a period extension way out there so we don't have to worry about chiming getting hinky while I'm experimenting. Okay, arm 3. You need to continue rotating. Every couple of ticks. Yeah, it's going to immediately collide. Okay. Well, actually, what we could do here is we could let's see, arm 5. When arm 4 releases, we grab. The tick after, I think, actually is right timing. No, that's not. Okay. That gives us a little bit more space to work with. Yeah. You'd have to go there, which actually still works. Doesn't work. Damn it. Well, we have to use a rail to make that work. I don't want to use a rail if I don't have to. I think I might have to, though. Yeah, there's not really a good place to put that arm. Okay, the lazy place to put this would be right there. But then we need to get... Ooh, that almost works. No, it doesn't. But... it's much better to deal with a single atom edge case than a multi-atom edge case. We could put an arm over here to do it, actually. And then just have a bit of track for it. Okay, so when arm 3 releases... Oh, this can't be here because... Yeah, okay, but it can be on the inside. But it does mean we have to use the other rotation direction. Okay. Now, arm 3. It picks up the 3 atoms, gets them into place. Then, arm 4 drops off an atom right here. At which point arm 5 grabs this. Arm 3, you need to go there then. And then we do something a lot like this. You need to go one tick later. Okay, meanwhile, arm 4. Alright, let's see how badly this is broken. Oh, of course. It can't swing through there. We could actually put it on the inside, though. How many different arms do we have stacked in this little line right here now? Okay, that is arm 4, right? Yes, it is. Okay. So we need to reverse the direction of arm 4. Now that it's on the opposite side. Okay. Arm 3 and arm 5 are fighting. Unsurprisingly, actually. Let's see if we need to add more delay. It looks like we don't actually have to add more delay. We just had to change the difference between the two. Okay, arm 6. You don't have any programming currently. You, after all this bullshit's done, you need to grab the centerpiece as arm 1 releases it. Which it does immediately. Because sure, why not? We can release and then we can go on our merry way. Actually, we can just... boom. Okay, so we need to grab it at some point after we're done with arm... Which one are you? Arm 4. Okay. So, back here, actually, we need to grab that. And then we need to rotate away. Alright, let's see if that collides with anybody important. Looks like it didn't. Oh, there's a different collision though. It didn't grab it in time. Okay, arm 6. Yeah, okay. It got it out of there just in time. We could have that go a little faster, actually. There we go. Okay. So we've got a little bit of parallelism going. Not hugely so. We did rather badly on area, but that's fine. Cycles, middle of the road. Is there any immediately obvious massive wins we can get? It looks like arm 1 and arm 3 have the same period. So unless we speed up both of them, we can't speed the machine. Arm 1 could be sped up by using a double-ended arm, because then we could remove the whole reset. But then we would have to worry about speeding up arm 3. Okay, let's try speeding up arm 1, first of all. Remove that reset, just put a drop there. So that gets us 3 ticks faster on arm 1. It should. However, that interferes because then arm 1 grabs on the other side. Okay. So how about we just don't do that? I'm reasonably happy with how this works. Oh, I need to replace you with a single arm too. I'm reasonably happy with how well this works. I could make it a little better actually by making arm 6 take over more of the work that arm 1 does. So instead of having arm 1 drop it there and leave it, you could have arm 6 grab it from arm 1 and hold it in place. And actually we could... Okay, we could remove a bit of... We can remove this track here.
Okay, I'm going to move arm 3 one tile that way so I can see what's going on. Arm 6 can go there. No, it can't. Yeah, shit. We could change a whole bunch of things, and we could probably get that effect. I'll basically just have arm 6 grab it from this tile, move it to this tile, but then we'd have to move all of this up one. We'd have to move this arm probably over to here, actually. Like, we could totally do this. Okay, arm 4 needs to be the other way now. Arm 6 needs to grab and rotate and then hold. This isn't going to function, by the way. Okay, arm 4 is now a little bit too ahead of time. So it needs to go there. And that means arm 5 and arm 6 need to move. Also, arm 6 again needs track back. Oh, and of course, the reason why we moved this to the inside in the first place was because it was colliding with that, I remember now. I could move arm 5 back to here, I think. And move arm 4. Okay, arm 4 needs to be reversed. Arm 5 needs to be reversed. Arm 4 is going to absolutely clobber arm 5 trying to swing across there. So that's not going to work. I could rotate this a bit, but I don't think that's going to help anything. Which one are you again? Arm 4? Okay, arm 4, you need to be reversed again. Back to where you were. Now the timings are all screwed up again. Let's see. Arm 5 is grabbing. There, I think is the right spot. Okay. Arm 3 is trying to move at the same time as Arm 5. So I think actually these need to go ahead 2 ticks. Yeah. Okay. But Arm 6 is now moving a little too early. That's fine. And it's moving a little too early again. Probably going to move a little too late now. Oh. Exactly the right timing. Okay, we're good. Yeah, we're right back to where we were, is where we are. There's no easy way to make this faster without far too much redesign work to that whole ladder section there. Which we could do, but I don't want to waste the time on it right now. Okay. Chapter 2. Unstable Catalysts. Metal Division. Okay. Glyph of Division. Splits an atom of metal into 2 atoms of lower form according to its metallity. Okay. Basically, it's the reverse of the glyph that takes 2 metals and makes them into the next higher. Okay, so we need to produce a bunch of metals. We need to make lead. We need to make silver. We need to make iron. Or tin, I mean. Lead, tin, and iron. Out of gold. Okay. Now. Let me think. So every gold we drop into here, we'll get 2 silver. which is great and all, but I don't need 2 silver. And then from silver I could make copper, which I still don't need copper. Also, the way this is shaped is very annoying. It can make it hard to work with. Okay, we definitely don't need a fast arm for that. Okay, that's going to get us a ton of copper. And then we need to take the copper and we need to split it again. To make even more materials. Okay, I do want to make these longer arms. Because that way I can do this without having them interfere with each other quite so much. Now, silver, copper. When we split the copper again, we get iron. And then we need to split. So if we want equal amounts of each of these materials, which we do, we're going to need to pass half of the copper we get, or half of the copper we get is going to be split to make iron. The other half is going to be split to make tin. Then half the tin we get is going to be split to make lead, I believe. No. A quarter of the tin we get is split to make lead. So most of the copper we get is going to go straight to making iron. Gotta stuff all this iron into the same output, which is going to be interesting. Yeah, we're gonna have to make some. Okay, actually, we're better off the multi-arm there. And then you... Yeah, this is going to be really ugly no matter how we do it. I think we're better off just making a small, slow machine instead of a large, fast one. Because otherwise it's going to take a lot of time. So I might make some kind of accumulator design for the first bit of it. Not sure if accumulator is really the right word. Okay. So let's go ahead and set this up. I'm just going to go ahead and stick atoms onto a chain. Let me think. That's not how I want to do that. Yeah, we need a shuffler here. Okay. We'll worry about these later. Now, arm 1. Grab, rotate, get your ass out of the way. Arm 2. Grab, rotate twice. Wait, what am I doing here? Move that shuffler to there. No. Move it to there. That'll work. I don't think that'll hit any of those arms, but I guess we'll find out. All right. Okay. So to start, we make our iron. Wait a second. Gold splits into iron? Okay, it doesn't go down by 1. It splits in half. Well, that's going to be interesting. What does the iron split into then? Okay. All right, so it doesn't, unlike the other one that doubles, that takes 2 metals to go up to the next one. This one actually just goes and produces 2 metals that would add up to the base metal. So that's way simpler than what I thought I was dealing with. Okay. Well, we don't need any of this shit then. Half of the iron can go straight into there. The other half of the iron can go straight into here. And then we just grab that and get rid of it. And I'm going to use multi-arms because they're fast. So many multi-arms. Let me think. Want to place it like that? Here, let's get these out of the way. Okay. Arm 1. Grab, rotate, drop. Repeat. Arm 4. Grab, rotate, drop. Repeat forever. Arm 5. Okay, there we go. Some little bit of renumbering. Grab, rotate, drop. Okay. Now, arm 4 and arm 5. Arm 5, you rotate that away. Arm 4, you rotate that away. Everybody uses exactly the same sequence. Arm 1, I am going to redo you. Be a circular arm as well. That way I can reduce the timing on all this. All right, and then these two need to be flipped. Okay, that one's ridiculously easy to get max cycle, minimum cycles, or what I'm going to assume is minimum cycles, because there's no possible way you can make those arms any faster than that. Area is way the hell out there. Cycles, there's no way we could save anymore. And we're kind of expensive too. I don't think I can make this any smaller because we'd have trouble with arms both grabbing the same atoms if we did. Or, you know, we couldn't make the arm 1 and arm 3 shorter, which would also make it smaller. So I think the only way to make this smaller would be to use a slower design. But I'm not willing to do that. Okay. Solder wire. I kind of like the wire type solutions where you make a long sequence of something. Okay, that isn't interesting sequence of lead and tin, it looks like. Yeah. Well, there's no way we have time to do this tonight yet, but... So we start with some iron. And let's see what this produces if we just feed it a little bit of iron. Grab, rotate, release. Boom. Okay, yeah, we get our lead, we get our tin. And then we just need to grab these and assemble them flipped. So I think what we need to do is just assemble them in the same order every time. And then we grab those and we flip them to weld. So three, rotate that way, 2, rotate that away, I believe. Yeah, and then we get our bit of wire. Okay. But I think I want to use the long ones here. Or not long ones, but you know what I mean. And then you guys can be high speed. Okay, we got a little problem here that 3 is going to want to grab at the same time as 2. So let's delay 2 by 1 tick. I don't think that's going to help. No. Okay, so we need to add a tick of delay. We need to add 2 ticks of delay. And then we're getting, basically 2 is moving our pieces out of here. And then we need to use some shufflers to grab those and move them out. And the shufflers are got to flip every other one. We're going to have to weld certain ones and not other ones. So I think we're going to have to make the shuffler using pistons so that we can move them in and out as they go over the right weld spots. And since some of them are going to have to flip, there's going to have to be a gap so that we can flip and then move. But I think this will work. We just have to do a bunch of programming on these arms and then we can feed into the output. But not all of these need to be piston arms. So like 4 definitely doesn't need to be a piston arm, I don't think. 5 does, because it's the one who's going to be doing the flipping and readjusting. 6 I don't think does, I don't think 6 needs to be either. We might not even need an arm 7. So I think this is the design, we just need to program it. Alright, However, yeah, let's work on it a little bit yet. We still have some time. It's only 10:17. Never know, maybe it'll be easier than I think it will be, and we'll be able to finish it quickly. Okay. Arm 4. Grab as arm 2 is releasing. Move forward 1. Arm 5 the same. Except I don't actually want to do that yet. Okay, for that bit we do actually. We move forward 1, and then we reset. So that's the first piece. Now, for the second piece, we need to grab on all of them. Then arm 5, you need to extend you need to flip and then you move forward. Everybody moves forward as one. And then everybody resets. Okay. Except we actually do it the other way around because of the way some movements happen. Okay. Yeah, that should be the right timing now, I think. That is not the right timing. Okay. I see what the problem is. I think. No. I don't see what the problem is. Okay. Yeah. I think that'll fix it, actually. Yeah, that will fix it. Sort of. Okay, this all needs to go ahead 1 tick. Oh, we're still not welding yet. Yeah, we need to start doing the welding jukes, which the shuffler's not long enough. Okay. So this is how this has got to work. To make room for 5 to do its little spinny thing, here, let's just separate these by a nice long period of time, and then we can worry about any of that bullshit later. Okay. Oops. You guys all need to go at the same time as that. All right. Now, what we do? 7 and 6 need to move ahead first. Then 5 can proceed to spin. And then 5 and 4 move ahead together. Okay, meanwhile, 7 and 6 need to decide if they want to go up or down on a given turn. Okay, so 5 doesn't do a spin this time, which means we take less time. Although 7 and 6 still need to do their little weld jig. Okay, that should work. It does mean we're going to be vibrating the whole line up and down as we go, but that's not really something we can solve. That's just the way it's got to be. Okay. And also, we can't use these stupid reset instructions because sucks to be me, I guess. Okay. Because they want to do things in the wrong order. Alright, now. Let's try this. Okay, why is there... Oh, I didn't move this one back together with them. Oops. So a bunch of stuff got way out of the whack. Okay. That's fine. Let's see how badly this works. Or doesn't work, as the case may be. Okay, the first pair got welded. Okay, I believe we're welding them in the wrong order. Yes, we are. Okay, that's really easy to fix. We just flip these. Okay, we actually... That does look like it's coming together correctly now. Yep. Okay. Um... Okay, we can, of course, reduce the length of the shuffler. That's a start. That'll get us a little less area used. And also, I believe we could move that in one tile closer and still have it work. Matter of fact, we could probably move it in 2 tiles closer and have it work. And the closer we can get it, that's one whole cycle of the machine less that it has to run before it finishes. Yeah. Okay. That cut, not that many cycles, but some. All right. Is there anything else I can cut? At this point, to make this faster, we would have to increase the speed of arms 5, 6, and 7. Because they're slow in different parts of their cycle. But in general, their cycles run in lockstep, so I could maybe make them so they run slightly less in lockstep. But like if I try to move 6 and 7 back earlier, they'll just collide. So that won't work. I could, however, move 4 and 5 back earlier, but that wouldn't matter because 6 and 7 have the same period. So there's nothing I can do to really make that faster. I thought it was going to be harder to do that puzzle than it was. Reactive lead is the next one. However, it is 10:30 at this point. And I definitely will not be able to finish another puzzle. Even if it goes as fast as the last one. Yeah. So far, the DLC is pretty fun. We got farther through it than I thought we would today. Which means we'll almost certainly finish the game next week. The puzzles do get more complicated as it goes, I'm sure. But Probably not that much more complicated. He says, thereby ensuring that there'll be at least one puzzle that takes an entire stream to solve. But anyway, next week. Tomorrow is Thursday. So that means some Zoo Tycoon 1. Quite looking forward to that. Going to see if we can do a better job of the saving the big cat scenario this time. And then on Friday should be some EDF. Saturday we're going to play at least a little Timberborn. We don't have a whole lot left in the current run, but got a little bit of stuff to do. There was a new Timberborn patch today, but I don't think we're going to try it out yet. It added a bunch of interesting things. I might actually experiment a little bit with it in like a creative mode or something, because I'm really kind of curious how the new pump works. And I don't want to take the time to build a whole big old settlement just to experiment with one block. But anyway, so that does mean the next time we get back around to Timberborn, there'll be a bunch of new things to play with. Some of them that looks quite interesting, including a plant that only grows in non-irrigated areas and produces water. So that could make it very interesting on challenge maps. You could make maps where early game water can only be gotten by farming. I'm really not sure how that would work out, but it is a possibility now. Then for the rest of the weekend, I'm not entirely sure yet. I have a pretty good idea, but we'll see when we get there. Monday, of course, we more Crab Champions. And then Tuesday and next Wednesday will be more Opus Magnum until I finish the DLC, at which point then we'll pull something else off the pile. There's a whole lot of options for that. So it looks like next week is going to be the week of starting new games, or, this weekend and next week. Most likely. Anyway. For tonight, though, I highly doubt Noms is streaming, because he streamed for a long time yesterday. Crazy man. I went to sleep and woke up. The sound of him in the background. But it looks like Abby's streaming MechWarrior 5. Okay. Well, let's raid Abby then. Hopefully, I see you all back here tomorrow for some Zoo Tycoon shenaniganry. And I will see you all later. Good night and goodbye.